The gleaming towers of the Galactic Federation's diplomatic wing stretched endlessly into the purple sky of Centauri Prime. High Consul Marcus stood at his office window, watching the streams of hover vehicles weave between the buildings. After 300 years of diplomatic service, very little surprised him anymore. He had evaluated 17 civilization-class planets and rejected 16 of them for Federation membership. His perfect record of maintaining the Federation's high standards had earned him respect among his peers. The holographic message floating on his desk caught his attention again. Earth, such a simple name for what promised to be a complicated assignment. Marcus sighed and walked back to his desk, his formal robes swishing against the polished floor. The preliminary reports weren't promising. "Kay, give me the summary again," he said to the air. His personal AI assistant materialized as a soft blue light beside the desk. "Earth, third planet of the Sol system," Kay began in its measured voice. "Primary species, humans. Technology level, early spacefaring. Notable concerns, extensive history of warfare, rapid technological advancement without corresponding social development, environmental damage to home planet, highly competitive social structures, and," Kay paused, which was unusual for an AI. "Sir, they still used physical currency in some regions." Marcus raised an eyebrow. "Physical currency? In this age?" He shook his head. "Continue. Population, approximately 8.7 billion. Multiple governing systems operating simultaneously. No unified planetary government. Military forces, fragmented but numerous. Most concerning aspect, they achieve fusion power while still fighting wars over fossil fuels." Marcus picked up his favorite stylus, an antique from a long-dead civilization. Classic case of premature technological advancement. How did they even manage to qualify for evaluation? Kay's light flickered slightly. "That's the unusual part, sir. They didn't apply. They were discovered. A Federation deep space probe detected their quantum communication experiments. By law, any civilization achieving quantum communication must be evaluated." This caught Marcus's attention. Most civilizations applied for Federation membership after centuries of preparation. Being discovered was rare. He started making notes on his datapad. "Their time scale of advancement is concerning," Kay continued. "From first powered flight to quantum communications in less than 200 years. The fastest recorded progression in Federation history." "Too fast," Marcus muttered. "They'll burn themselves out. Show me their conflict statistics." The air filled with floating graphs and charts. Marcus's eyes widened as he studied them. "This can't be right. These numbers suggest they've had 3 global-scale conflicts, countless regional wars, and yet their population and technological progress increased during these periods." "Correct, sir. Human productivity and innovation appear to increase under pressure. They have a documented history of making their greatest technological leaps during periods of conflict." Marcus stood up and paced the room. In his experience, civilizations advanced either through peaceful cooperation or through conquest. This alternating pattern of conflict and progress was unprecedented. It should have destroyed them. His communication panel chimed. The face of Senior Consul Abbott appeared, her silver skin reflecting the office lights. "Marcus, I see you've received the Earth assignment." "Yes, Senior Consul. I was just reviewing their file." "Good. We need your expertise on this one. Earth is problematic. Their development pattern doesn't match any known model. Some of my colleagues believe they might be dangerous to the greater galactic community." Marcus nodded. "I understand. A quick evaluation and rejection, then." Abbott's expression turned serious. "Normally, yes. But there's something else. Our deep space probes have detected unofficial human quantum signatures beyond their solar system. They're exploring, Marcus, without announcing themselves. We need to know what they're planning." This was unexpected. Unannounced exploration was rare enough to be almost unheard of. Most civilizations proudly broadcast their achievements. "I'll leave for Earth immediately," Marcus said. Standard diplomatic protocol. No, Abbott replied. Go in with minimal staff, just you and Kay. We don't want to show too much interest. And Marcus. She paused. Be careful. The last 3 observation teams sent back some disturbing reports. They seem to find us as fascinating as we find them concerning. After Abbott's image faded, Marcus sat in silence for a long moment. Kay's blue light pulsed quietly beside him. Kay, prepare my ship. Small diplomatic vessel, minimal profile. And download everything we have about human psychology. I have a feeling we're missing something important here. As his AI began the preparations, Marcus looked out at the orderly streams of traffic once more. He had a strange feeling that this assignment was going to be different from all the others. For the first time in decades, he felt something he hadn't expected. Curiosity. Marcus's diplomatic vessel dropped out of quantum space just beyond Earth's moon. He stood at the viewing window, studying the blue-white planet with professional detachment. After thousands of first contact missions, he had learned not to form early impressions. Still, he couldn't help but notice how much water covered the planet's surface. Quite beautiful, isn't it? Kay's blue light reflected off the window, though their moon shows signs of mining operations. Curious that they would damage their only natural satellite. Before Marcus could respond, a communication signal chimed. He straightened his formal robes and activated the holographic receiver. The image that appeared made him blink in surprise. The human delegation was unexpected. At their center stood a tall man in a simple dark suit. Ambassador Thomas, according to the digital overlay. But it was the others that caught Marcus's attention. To Thomas's left stood a woman with visible cybernetic enhancements. Her right arm, a sleek combination of metal and synthetic flesh. On his right was a man whose genetic modifications were subtle but clear to Marcus's trained eye. Slightly enhanced muscle structure, optimized neural patterns. High Consul Marcus, Ambassador Thomas spoke in perfect galactic standard. Welcome to Earth. We're honored by your visit. Marcus kept his face neutral, though his mind raced. How had they learned the language so quickly? The Federation had only made its existence known 3 months ago. The honor is mine, Marcus replied smoothly. Your infrastructure is quite impressive. He gestured to the massive space station now visible through his window, its solar panels gleaming in the sunlight. Thomas smiled. Just a simple, welcoming facility. We've prepared a comprehensive tour schedule, if you're agreeable. We thought you might appreciate seeing Earth's diversity firsthand. As they docked with the station, Marcus whispered to Kay, "Run a full scan. Something's not right here." "Already done, sir," Kay replied quietly. The station's technology is a fascinating mix. Some sections use fusion power, others use solar. Some areas show quantum shielding while others rely on traditional metals. It's inefficient, but oddly functional. The docking procedure was flawless, which only increased Marcus's suspicion. Most emerging civilizations struggled with basic space operations, yet these humans handled everything with practiced ease. The greeting party that met him at the airlock was equally puzzling. Along with the diplomatic team, there were what appeared to be ordinary citizens, a chef preparing traditional Earth food, an artist working on a massive digital canvas, and even a group of children with their teacher. "We thought you might appreciate experiencing Earth culture immediately," Thomas explained, noting Marcus's confused expression. "Our species learns best through direct experience." Marcus watched as one of the children approached him fearlessly, offering what appeared to be a hand-drawn picture. The child's teacher started to pull them back, but Thomas shook his head, smiling. "High Consul," Thomas said, "would you accept this gift? Young Amy here has drawn her impression of your home world, based on the limited information we have." Marcus carefully took the drawing, noting how the child had imagined Centauri Prime with its purple sky and floating cities. The accuracy was surprising for such a young artist. "Rather talented, isn't she?" Thomas commented. "Amy has some neural enhancements to help with her dyslexia, but her artistic ability is entirely natural. Marcus looked sharply at Thomas. The casual mention of neural enhancement for children should have been shocking, yet the ambassador mentioned it as if discussing the weather. As they began their tour of the station, Marcus noticed more oddities. Humans with various levels of technological enhancement worked seamlessly alongside unmodified ones. Advanced AI interfaces similar to K operated freely, engaged in complex discussions with humans. In one section, a group was practicing what appeared to be ancient martial arts while wearing modern exo-assist suits. "Your society seems very integrated," Marcus observed carefully. Thomas nodded. "We believe in embracing all paths of human development. Technology, tradition, genetic enhancement, natural evolution, they all have their place." K's light pulsed urgently, indicating it had important information, but Marcus waved it off. He was starting to realize that standard Federation protocols might be useless here. These humans weren't following any development pattern he recognized. "Ambassador," Marcus said, "I believe I'll need to modify our scheduled tour. There's clearly much more to learn about Earth than I initially anticipated." Thomas's smile widened slightly. "High Consul, you have no idea." The transport pod descended through Earth's atmosphere, giving Marcus his first close view of a human city. New York, they called it. The morning sun caught the towers of metal and glass, making them shine like beacons. But what caught his attention wasn't the height of the buildings, it was their variety. "Most unusual," Kay commented, its blue light reflecting off the pod's window. "The structures appear to span several centuries of development, yet they're all still in use." Marcus watched as they passed an ancient stone cathedral, its spires reaching up towards the sky right next to a modern building that seemed to be made entirely of intelligent glass. The glass building shifted its surface to capture sunlight, while the cathedral remained unchanging, eternal. "Ambassador Thomas," Marcus turned to his guide, "why haven't you replaced the older structures with more efficient ones?" Thomas smiled. "Why would we? Each building tells part of our story. Look there." He pointed to a street where food vendors had set up their carts. "See how they cook. Some use fusion-powered heating units. Others still prefer traditional charcoal or wood fires. The variety of methods creates different flavors." Marcus blinked in confusion. "But the traditional methods are less efficient." "Efficiency isn't everything," Thomas replied. "Sometimes the journey matters more than the destination." Their pod landed in a central plaza. As they stepped out, Marcus was hit by a wave of sensations. The smell of cooking food mixed with the clean scent of rain-washed streets. Music drifted from multiple directions. Some played on ancient instruments, others created by AI composers in real time. Street artists worked with both physical paints and holographic displays. A group of school children ran past, laughing. Some had visible tech implants, others were completely natural. They played together without any sign of distinction or division. "Your people seem very comfortable with contradictions," Marcus observed, watching as a monk in traditional robes used a quantum tablet to write ancient scriptures. Thomas led them through the streets, past shops where robotic assistants worked alongside human craftsmen. "We learned long ago that progress doesn't mean abandoning our past. Every piece of our history taught us something valuable." They entered what appeared to be a public park. Marcus was surprised to see actual trees and grass in the middle of the city. Even more surprising were the people using the space. A group practiced meditation under a tree while wearing neural enhancement bands. Nearby, children played traditional games using augmented reality overlays. "Kay," Marcus whispered, "are you recording all this?" "Yes, sir," the eye replied. "Though I must admit, my predictive models are struggling. The mixture of technologies and cultural elements here doesn't match any known development pattern." They passed a research center where a team was working on what appeared to be a quantum computer. Through the transparent walls, Marcus could see holograms of complex equations floating in the air. But next to the equations were hand-drawn diagrams and physical models made of simple materials. Your scientific methods are unconventional, Marcus noted. Thomas nodded. We've found that combining different approaches often leads to unexpected breakthroughs. Some of our best quantum physicists are also artists or musicians. They say it helps them visualize problems differently. As they walked, Marcus noticed something else unusual. The humans they passed didn't seem concerned by his alien appearance. Some smiled politely, others nodded in greeting. But none showed the fear or excessive curiosity he usually encountered on evaluation visits. Your people seem very accepting of differences, he said. Thomas stopped at a busy intersection where a street performer was entertaining a crowd with a mixture of traditional juggling and controlled anti-gravity spheres. We had to be. Our history taught us that fearing differences leads to conflict. Embracing them leads to growth. Marcus watched as the performer incorporated more spheres into his act, creating complex patterns in the air. The crowd included humans of all types, enhanced and natural, wearing everything from smart fabric suits to traditional cultural dress. They all watched together, appreciating both the ancient skill of juggling and the modern technology that enhanced it. I think I'm beginning to understand, Marcus said slowly. Your strength isn't in choosing one path forward. It's in choosing all of them, Thomas finished, and finding ways to make them work together. Kay's light pulsed with what Marcus recognized as confusion. For once, he understood exactly how his AI felt. Everything he knew about civilizational development said this shouldn't work, yet somehow it did. The ground shook without warning. Marcus grabbed the nearest wall for support as the earthquake rocked the coastal city they were visiting. Warning sirens began to wail immediately, their sound mixing with the deep rumble from beneath the earth. K. Analysis. Marcus shouted over the noise. Magnitude 8.7 earthquake, epicenter 50 kilometers offshore, K reported quickly. High probability of tsunami formation. Sir, we should evacuate immediately. Federation protocol. But Ambassador Thomas was already moving. He pressed his hand against a nearby wall, and a holographic display sprang to life. Marcus watched in amazement as the entire city's emergency response system activated in seconds. Everyone remained calm. Thomas spoke into his communication device. Follow the evacuation guides. Priority to children, elderly, and those with mobility issues. All emergency units activate. This is not a drill. Marcus expected panic, chaos, the breakdown of order he'd seen on so many other worlds during crisis. Instead, he witnessed something extraordinary. The streets came alive with purpose. Glowing lines appeared on the ground, guiding people to safe zones. Automated vehicles emerged from underground stations, ready to evacuate those who couldn't move quickly. Building surfaces transformed into information displays, showing real-time evacuation routes and safety instructions in multiple languages. Sir, Kay's light pulsed urgently. The tsunami will hit in approximately 12 minutes. Marcus turned to Thomas. We need to get to higher ground. My ship can. No need. Thomas interrupted, his voice calm. Watch. Along the coastline, massive structures began rising from beneath the water. They looked like ancient sea walls. But as they emerged, their surfaces rippled with energy fields. Between them, thousands of tiny drones deployed, forming a complex network in the air. The coastal defense system, Thomas explained as they walked quickly to a nearby command center. Part physical barrier, part energy field. The drones will help dissipate the wave's energy before it hits the barriers. Inside the command center, Marcus saw humans and AIs working together seamlessly. Some operators wore neural interface headsets, connecting directly with the city's systems. Others used more traditional controls, their experienced hands flying over holographic displays. Tsunami approaching, an AI announced. Wave height, 30 meters. Marcus held his breath. A wave that size could devastate the city. But as he watched the monitors, he saw something incredible. The drone network activated, creating a cascading series of energy pulses that broke up the wave's momentum. When it finally hit the barriers, its height had been reduced by 2/3. The remaining water was channeled into massive underground reservoirs. "We'll filter it and add it to the city's water supply," Thomas explained, noticing Marcus's questioning look. No sense in wasting it. But what truly amazed Marcus wasn't the technology. It was what happened next. As soon as the immediate danger passed, the city transformed again. Emergency medical robots deployed to help the injured. Citizens who had reached safe zones immediately began organizing supplies and support for those who needed it. Children were comforted, elderly were cared for, and strangers helped each other without hesitation. "Your emergency response is impressive," Marcus said, watching as a group of civilians helped repair a damaged community center. Some used high-tech tools, others simple physical labor, all working together. Thomas nodded. "We learned the hard way that technology alone isn't enough. The best emergency response system in the galaxy won't work without people who care about each other." Kay's light flickered. "Sir, I'm detecting something unusual." "The humans are celebrating." Indeed, in one of the safe zones, people had started sharing food and drinks. Someone had brought out musical instruments. Children played while adults talked and laughed, despite the crisis barely being over. "We call it a block party," Thomas smiled. "It helps people process what happened, builds community spirit." Marcus watched as a young girl with prosthetic legs taught an elderly man how to use his emergency tech band, while another group organized supplies using both AI assistants and old-fashioned paper lists. "In all my years of diplomatic service," Marcus said slowly, "I've never seen anything like this. Your people don't just survive crises, they thrive in them." "That's humanity for you," Thomas replied. "We've learned that it's not about having the perfect system. It's about having people who won't give up on each other, no matter what." As the sun set over the city, emergency lights created a soft glow. The sound of music and laughter mixed with the hum of repair drones and emergency vehicles. Marcus realized he was witnessing something unprecedented in galactic history. A civilization that had turned crisis response into a celebration of life itself. After the earthquake, Marcus requested access to Earth's historical records. The humans provided him with a private study room in their global archives, its walls lined with both physical books and holographic displays. He sat at a simple wooden desk, its surface doubling as an advanced computer interface. "Kay, this can't be right," Marcus said, looking through the records of human warfare. According to this, they were fighting with primitive projectile weapons less than a century before developing quantum technology. Kay's blue light pulsed as it processed the information. "Correct, sir. But look at what happened during those conflicts." The AI projected a series of images showing technological developments. "They made more advances during their wars than during peacetime." "That makes no sense," Marcus muttered. "War should have destroyed them." He touched another file, and the room filled with holographic displays of human sports competitions. "Fascinating," Kay commented. "They turned their aggressive instincts into structured competition. Look at this. They call it the Olympics. Athletes from different nations compete without actual conflict." Marcus watched recordings of humans pushing their bodies to incredible limits. Some used technology to enhance their performance. Others relied purely on natural ability. Both were celebrated equally. "Show me their scientific development," he ordered. The displays changed to show laboratories and research centers. Marcus leaned forward, intrigued. "They have multiple teams working on the same problems, independently." "Yes, sir. They call it competitive research. Different groups race to solve problems first. It seems inefficient, but..." Kay's light flickered. "The data shows this approach often leads to multiple viable solutions." The door opened, and Ambassador Thomas entered with a steaming cup. "We call it coffee," he explained, setting it down. "It helps with long study sessions, finding anything interesting." Marcus looked up from his research. "Your people are puzzling. You turn everything into a competition, even scientific research. By all logic, this should create conflict and waste resources. Thomas smiled. But it doesn't, does it? We found that competition, when properly channeled, drives us forward. Take space exploration, for example. The displays shifted to show the history of human spaceflight. Marcus watched as rival nations raced to reach their moon, each breakthrough spurring others to push harder. You deliberately maintain multiple space programs, Marcus observed. Different nations, private companies, even individual inventors. Why not combine resources? Because competition breeds innovation, Thomas replied. When different groups tackle the same problem in different ways, we often discover things we weren't even looking for. Marcus picked up the coffee cup, noting how its simple ceramic design contained hidden temperature controls. Even your products show this pattern. You keep old technologies alongside new ones. We learned that newer isn't always better, Thomas said. Sometimes an ancient technique combined with modern technology creates something neither could achieve alone. Kay projected new data. Sir, look at their entertainment industry. They turn everything into competition. Cooking, building, even gardening. Marcus watched clips of these shows, seeing how humans made games out of ordinary tasks. You even compete at farming. Thomas laughed. You should see our competitive robot building contests. Children as young as 10 design and build robots to solve complex problems. Last year's winning team created a new type of rescue drone. Children. Marcus was shocked. You let children handle advanced technology. Of course, they often see possibilities that adults miss. Some of our best innovations came from children asking, why not? Instead of why. Marcus stood and walked to a window overlooking the university campus. Below, he could see students practicing both ancient martial arts and modern zero-gravity sports. Your people never stopped playing, did you? Even as you advanced. Play is how we learn best, Thomas said. Through games, we can explore possibilities without fear of failure. Even our military runs war games, not to prepare for war, but to find ways to prevent it. Kay's light brightened suddenly. Sir, I've completed the analysis of their development pattern. It's beautiful. They didn't eliminate their aggressive instincts or their differences. They transformed them into drivers of progress. Marcus watched as a group of students below tested some kind of new anti-gravity device. When it failed, they laughed, made adjustments, and tried again. No anger, no frustration. Just persistent, playful determination. We don't advance despite our conflicts, Thomas said quietly. We advance because we learn to make our conflicts work for us. Every competition, every challenge, every failure teaches us something new. For the first time in his long diplomatic career, Marcus felt something he hadn't expected. Envy. These humans had found a way to make their greatest weaknesses into their greatest strengths. Marcus stood in the observation deck of a hidden facility deep beneath the Rocky Mountains. Through the reinforced windows, he watched teams of scientists working on what appeared to be an impossible project. They were bending space itself, creating stable wormholes in a way that Federation scientists had deemed impossible. How long have you been able to do this? He asked Thomas, his voice barely above a whisper. The first successful test was 3 years ago, Thomas replied. We kept it quiet. We wanted to understand it properly before announcing it to anyone. Kay's light flickered rapidly as it processed the data streaming from the facility's computers. Sir, their method. It's completely different from Federation approaches. They're using principles from ancient Eastern philosophy combined with quantum mechanics. Marcus watched as a scientist drew traditional symbols on a whiteboard next to complex mathematical equations. You're using old wisdom to solve new problems. The old masters understood things about the universe that we're only now beginning to prove with science, Thomas explained. We found that meditation techniques thousands of years old helped our scientists visualize quantum states better than any computer model. They moved to another section of the facility. Here, researchers were working with what looked like ordinary plants, But as Marcus looked closer, he noticed something extraordinary. These plants, they're consuming pollution. He asked, watching as a small tree absorbed black smog and converted it into clean oxygen. Bioengineering combined with traditional herbalism, Thomas said. Our ancestors knew which plants could clean the air. We just helped them do it better. He touched a leaf gently. We solved our pollution crisis 6 months ago. We were planning to offer the solution to the Federation once we joined. Kay's light pulsed with surprise. Sir, according to my records, no civilization has successfully reversed atmospheric pollution without causing ecological collapse. Marcus moved to another window. The scene below made him freeze. Humans were working with what appeared to be Federation technology, but it was more advanced than anything he'd seen before. That's impossible, he said. Those are Mark 7 quantum cores. The Federation only has Mark 5. Thomas smiled slightly. We found some of your old probes, studied them, made improvements. He paused. We thought it would be polite not to mention it until after the membership evaluation. Marcus turned to face the ambassador. You've been playing us all along, haven't you? Making your technology look less advanced than it is. Not playing, Thomas corrected. Just being careful. Earth's history taught us that when less advanced civilizations meet more advanced ones, it rarely ends well for either side. We wanted to be sure we could protect ourselves if necessary. They walked to a massive hangar door. Thomas pressed his hand to a scanner, and the door slowly opened. Inside, Marcus saw something that made his heart skip a beat. Long-range exploration ships, he breathed. How many? 50, so far. All equipped with our version of your quantum drive. We've already established research bases in 3 neighboring galaxies. Thomas watched Marcus's reaction carefully. We thought it best to know our neighborhood before introducing ourselves formally. Kay's light had turned almost white with processing intensity. Sir, I'm detecting signs of human activity far beyond their reported space territory. They've been exploring under our sensor grid for years. Marcus walked among the ships, noting their elegant design. They combined the best of human creativity with advanced technology. Some had gardens growing inside them, providing both food and atmospheric recycling. Others had art painted on their hulls, not for decoration, but as part of their sensor camouflage system. Why show me all this now? Marcus asked. Because you're different, Thomas replied. You've been watching us, really watching us, trying to understand instead of just judge. We think the Federation needs people like you, people who can see past their own assumptions. A group of young engineers walked past, discussing modifications to one of the ships. They were using both holographic tools and old paper notebooks, switching between them effortlessly. Your people could have dominated the galaxy, Marcus said quietly. Instead, you've been quietly exploring, learning, waiting. Thomas nodded. We learned from our own history that power isn't about domination. It's about understanding. We don't want to rule the galaxy, Marcus. We want to help make it better. But first, we needed to know if the Federation was ready for what we can offer. Marcus looked around the facility one more time, seeing not just the advanced technology, but the way humans had woven their entire history into their progress. They hadn't abandoned their past to reach the future. They had brought it with them. The Federation isn't ready, he said finally. But maybe that's exactly why we need you. Marcus sat in his quarters aboard the diplomatic vessel, staring at the blank report template floating before him. Earth glowed blue and peaceful through his window, betraying nothing of the remarkable secrets it held. After 3 days of writing and rewriting, he still couldn't find the right words. Kay, he said finally, begin recording. The AI's blue light pulsed softly. Ready, sir. Final evaluation report on Earth, submitted by High Consul Marcus. He paused, then continued. I hereby break with standard evaluation protocol to deliver the following assessment. The Federation must accept Earth for membership immediately, not for Earth's benefit, but for our own survival. Kay's light flickered. Sir, That's not the standard format. Nothing about Earth is standard, Marcus replied. He stood and began pacing. Continue recording. The humans have achieved technological advancement beyond Federation levels in several key areas. However, their true achievement is not in their technology, but in their method of progress. He walked to the window, watching a group of human ships practicing complex maneuvers nearby. Their movements were like a dance, both precise and creative. The Federation has long believed that civilization advances in a straight line, from chaos to order, from emotion to logic, from diversity to unity. Earth proves this theory wrong. The humans have found a way to advance while maintaining their diversity, their creativity, and their connection to their past. Marcus touched a control, bringing up images from his visit. They have solved problems that have plagued the Federation for centuries, not through superior technology alone, but through their unique approach to innovation. They combine ancient wisdom with modern science. They turn competition into cooperation. They embrace their contradictions instead of trying to eliminate them. A message light blinked on his console, another urgent request from Federation Central for his report. He ignored it. Most remarkably, they have achieved this progress while maintaining their humanity. Where the Federation seeks to eliminate uncertainty, they embrace it. Where we demand conformity, they celebrate difference. Where we see conflict as a threat to progress, they have turned it into a force for advancement. Kay projected data from their visit. Sir, should I include the statistics about their hidden technological capabilities? No, Marcus decided. Let them reveal those in their own time. Include this instead. The humans have demonstrated a quality that the Federation has lost. The ability to grow without becoming rigid, to advance without losing their soul. He sat back down, looking at the final recommendation section. Based on these findings, I recommend not only accepting Earth for Federation membership, but also proposing the following changes to our structure. First, Earth should be granted a seat on the High Council immediately, with full voting rights. Their perspective is essential for our future. Second, the Federation should establish joint learning programs with Earth, focusing not just on technology exchange, but on their methods of innovation and problem-solving. Third, and most importantly, the Federation must acknowledge that our current path of development is leading to stagnation. We need Earth's creativity, their willingness to embrace chaos and contradiction, their ability to find strength in diversity. The console chimed again. Now Senior Consul Abbott was demanding an update. Marcus smiled and continued. Personal addendum. In my 300 years of diplomatic service, I have never encountered a species that made me question my own assumptions so thoroughly. The humans are not perfect. They are wonderfully, beautifully imperfect. And that is exactly what makes them valuable. He stood again, making his final statement. The Federation faces a choice. We can continue on our current path, seeking perfect order and uniformity, or we can learn from Earth that true strength comes from embracing diversity and change. The humans have shown us that progress doesn't mean leaving our past behind. It means bringing the best of our history forward with us. Kay's light dimmed slightly. Sir, this report will cause quite a stir in the Council. Good, Marcus said. We need to be stirred. He looked out at Earth one more time. Send it to Federation Central, highest priority. As the report transmitted, Marcus received a message from Ambassador Thomas. Coming up to say goodbye. No. Marcus typed back. Coming up to say hello. This isn't an ending. It's a beginning. As his ship prepared for departure, Marcus watched Earth's cities light up as night fell across the continent. Each light represented a story, a contradiction, a piece of the beautiful chaos that had produced something remarkable. The Federation had been looking for perfect order in the galaxy. Instead, they had found something better. They had found humanity.